Ontario's progressive Conservatives are declaring war on the power of organized labor in Canada's most populous province. The PCs unveiled a series of policy proposals this week which, among other things, could force union leaders to be more responsive to their membership. Ontario PC Leader Tim Hudak joins me now from our Ottawa newsroom to explain. And Tim, first, I guess, walk us through the highlights.
Well, you bet. I mean, just take it back for a sec. We got two major problems in Ontario. One, we have a government that spends way too much money. We're going into a massive debt. And secondly, this great engine of job creation we've always known as Ontario has stalled. It's sputtered to a halt. So the Ontario PCs are bringing forward ideas to address both those issues, to rein in spending, balance the books, and also get our private sector economy firing on all cylinders again. I released this week a white paper document called Paths to Prosperity, Flexible Labor Markets. One of the ways we accomplish those goals, get our labor laws out of the 1940s and into the 21st century. A flexible labor market means it'll be more attractive for job creation, and it also means we can rein in government spending with some of the abuses we've seen from closed union shops.
Now, as I said, some may look at this as an attack on union power. Not an attack on unions per se, but an attack on union power. Your proposals would essentially force unions to justify to their members why they should contribute financially to their union, and it would also force more transparency and accountability on unions.
No, I appreciate the way you characterize that. I mean, this is actually a difference between the average union member and the union bosses who are, a lot of them enjoying a system that was created in the days of the Etzel, but it doesn't fit 2012. Let me give you two examples. One, we say that just like other countries, the States, England, Australia, New Zealand, and Europe, union members should decide whether they actually want to be in a union and paying dues or not. That will increase accountability. It's kind of hard to believe that Canada is unique right now, that you could actually be fired if you refuse to join a union. I think that's wrong. And then number two, transparency and where the union dues go. I think a lot of union members get very upset when they hear their union dues go to support student protesters in Quebec who are paying far less tuition than the sons and daughters of union members here in Ontario, or the crusades against Israel. Union dues should go to collective bargaining, workplace health and safety, not to political causes that the members themselves don't support.
As you mentioned, you're saying these proposed reforms are directly related to Ontario's overall economic well-being in the sense that right now only union shops are allowed to compete for some government contracts, and that hurts small and medium-sized businesses. Sketch that out for us.
Well, today I'm actually in Ottawa visiting a place called Caesars. Caesar is an independent plumber, small business who survived a lot of ups and downs in the economy because he's got good product, good customer service, and therefore good word of mouth. But in a lot of areas, businesses like Caesars can't bid on government contracts because they're locked up in what's called closed tendering, so it's union only. We saw recently in Toronto, the district school board had to pay their union, I think, $143 to install a pencil sharpener, $3,000 for a light socket where it should take 4 hours, but they were billed for 76. I mean, that rightfully makes taxpayers angry when they see that kind of abuse, the kind of kickbacks in that system. We propose to abolish that and open everything up for competitive tendering, best quality, best price.
Now, one of your proposals would make it optional, essentially, for union members to pay dues. Now, one of the arguments against that is the so-called free ride argument, the idea that I could be in a union, get all the benefits that my union might negotiate in a collective agreement, but I wouldn't have to chip in to pay the costs of running that union. How do you deal with that free ride argument?
Well, I think it's the other way around, where the union bosses have a free ride on the backs of the union dues, where they use them to support political causes that have nothing to do with the workplace. Secondly, when you're part of a union shop, that means you're actually sacrificing some things, like climbing the ladder, because a lot of them are based on seniority as opposed to merit. If you're new to it, you're the first one who loses his or her job, even if you're producing great quality work. So, no, I don't buy that argument at all. I think that's an excuse to keep the privileged system that some of the union leaders enjoy. The bottom line here, it's going to make unions more accountable. It gives more freedom of choice for individual members, because a worker today, a lot more sophisticated than one from the 1930s or 1940s. Better educated, more talented, wants to take more of their own decisions. The bottom line, a flexible labor force will make us more attractive for investment, more jobs, and better paying jobs down the road.
Now, in the real world, let's call it, fewer than 1 in 5 Canadians belong to a union. But in the public sector, nearly 3 in 4 are union members. If you become premier, most of your employees will be union members. Do you think you're going to have some big battles on your hand with the public service if you try to bring in these reforms?
Well, I mean, some of the union bosses have used terms like this means war and that. I mean, that sounds very dated to me. That sounds like, sort of Depression era rhetoric. I think we got to get with the times and understand that 2012 is a lot different than 1932 or 1942. It's a very competitive economy. You need a flexible labor market to deliver. And I'm proud that we've put forward bold ideas, courageous ideas. Will they be controversial? Yeah, but we got to take these things on. And your viewers can get the full document at OntarioPC.com. Tell us what they like, what they don't like. But 7 ideas that will help us attract jobs and get the size and cost of the public sector under control. Because right now, our public sector unions are too powerful.
Last quick one. A lot of small C conservatives will look at your proposals here, small C conservatives across the country, and they'll say it's about time a Canadian Conservative Party is taking on union power. But some Ontario small C conservatives might be wondering, where was this a year ago? Why wasn't this in your election platform ahead of the 2011 vote?
Yeah, listen, that's a fair critique, and I think I've said that on your show, David, that if I had a mulligan, and you don't get mulligans in this business, I think I did a good job of saying what was wrong with Dalton McGuinty's plan, but I didn't do a good enough job of telling you what was right about ours and our bold PC vision for the future. This is the second paper we've put out. We did one on energy, getting energy about basic economics, affordability instead of an expensive social program has become. Labor coming down the pipe, healthcare, reforming the public service to make sure we can actually afford it and it goes into the front line, and as well jobs in the economy. The 2 top issues: we spend too much money, we're not creating jobs in the private sector like we used to. We're going to take them on head on with bold ideas.
Ontario Progressive Conservative Leader Tim Hudak, thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure.